Hi, everybody. My name is Melanie Kebler. I'm a city councilor for the city of Bend. And today I wanted to take you through a little bit of a preview of our agenda for our city council meeting tonight. The meeting starts at 5 p.m. with a work session, and then at 7 p.m. we start our business section. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up the agenda page. So what you're looking at right here is our page that shows our council meetings. And you can find it by going to bendoregon.gov/council agenda. And then when you scroll down, you'll see that our upcoming events show our upcoming meetings. These are our 2 June meetings, and we meet the first Wednesday and the third Wednesday of every month. And when you click on agenda, that will take you to the agenda document, which looks like this. And so I'm just going to do kind of a high level overview of what's on our agenda and what some of the sections are for people that might not be familiar. Obviously, you can watch live streaming video with this link here when the meeting starts, and you can also provide public comment on Zoom. I believe if you click this link, you'll also see an option to call in with your phone if that's better for you. So we're going to start our work session at 5 p.m. and the work session is a time for us to hear from city staff, partners, and other presenters about issues that we want to discuss, that we need to make decisions on, policy issues. It can give us background. It can give us time to ask questions of staff and other partners. And we typically do not make motions or make decisions during the work session. It's for informational purposes and to help us decide what we're going to maybe decide on later. So I think our biggest topic in this work session you'll see here is items 4 and 5, which is talking about coordination with our homeless service providers and about the administrative order on campsites in city rights of way, which means campsites that are on city streets and on the edges of streets up to where our right of way ends on the edge of the street. You can click this document here and it will show you the policy that has currently been signed by the city manager, and you can look through that. You can also see this other document called an impact analysis, which is mentioned in the policy and related to it. And you can look at both of those. And then you can provide us input. I'm going to change the banner here to show our council email address. You can also call in or Zoom in, I guess, come in on Zoom through this link to provide input to us about this topic. I think we're going to be having a very robust discussion with our service providers and our staff about this policy and about the plans to manage campsites in Bend. So moving down into our regular meeting, you'll see that starts at 7 p.m. Sometimes if we really have a lot of questions or a lot of discussion, we might run over a little bit in our work session. So we might have a little break before we start at 7 p.m. And this is our typical beginning of our meeting. I wanted to highlight our land acknowledgement document here because we do a land acknowledgement, and this document will actually show you, let me make that a little bigger, our land acknowledgement written out so you can see what it is. We thank the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs for offering us this land acknowledgement. And then I think really importantly, there's some actions down here that you can learn about the tribes and their relationship with the land we now call Bend. You can learn some more information at the museum at Warm Springs, which I recommend everyone visit if you haven't. And you can also take the action to donate to clean water for Warm Springs through this link here. So the other action too up here is a link to a map that will show you whose homelands we occupy. And you can, I think, look through all of North America to see where you are on that map. Okay, so I'm going to skip quickly through this other section here. This is good of the order where we do proclamations. I'm in full support of both these proclamations, and we'll hear more about those during the meeting, and we'll have some community members there to speak as well and to accept the proclamations. Then the visitors section is where people can give public comment via Zoom or phone. And like it says here, you can send your input to us through our email address before the meeting, so we see it before the meeting. And then after we finish with the public comment section, which again, I expect to be robust at this meeting, we move into what's called the consent agenda. And these are items that council does not need to discuss, that are sometimes they're very typical, like we get an OLCC report on who's asking for a new license every meeting, and that usually goes in the consent agenda. These are things we don't feel we need to discuss or have a staff presentation on, and we're fine approving them all at once by approving the consent agenda. So that's what the consent agenda means. Any counselor at any time can say, hey, there's something on there that I would like to discuss. and pull it out. And I think we've had that happen once already this year. So if there is someone who thinks, well, let me discuss that contract a little more or that land sale a little more, we can always pull it out and have staff present it to us during the meeting. But typically when we'll say we approve the consent agenda, meaning we approve all of these items at once in our capacity as counselors. So then we get into the rest of our business meeting. And I do want to mention, I expect after the work session talking about the policy on camps in the right of way, that we will have some sort of motion during our business meeting. I'm not sure if that's going to be during good of the order or some other part of the agenda, but that will come out and we will have a motion and discussion and a vote on that motion. Then we're getting into talking with Visit Bend about their business plan. They're presenting to us in the work session as well. And then we get down here to the motion to actually approve the business plan and any further discussion we need to have about that. There's some exciting new things in the Visit Bend plan this year, so I encourage people to check that out. We also have a resolution opposing oil by rail through the city of Bend, which we worked on in a work session at our previous meeting and now is here on our business section to do an actual motion to approve the resolution. And then I'm just going to move through a few of these other items and get down to where it says second reading, because I just wanted to explain that second reading means we've already had a first reading, which means we've already had a full discussion on the topic and voted on a motion to move this change or whatever the action is forward. And now our code requires us to have a second reading to do kind of the final adoption, just giving a chance to make sure nothing new comes up or some different information comes up that we didn't know about the first time around. And sometimes we've had, if this one says PL, sometimes there's a public hearing that we've already had and we've already had a discussion and public comment. And then we did our motion and our vote, and now we're just on our second reading to do the finalization of that motion. So that's what the second reading means. So then moving down to council action and reports, this is where you'll hear councilors report out on what it is they've been up to, who they've been meeting with, events they've attended, etc. Sometimes also we'll hear from the mayor that she has some appointments to committees to recommend to us for the council to accept. And then we move into the city manager's report, where city manager Eric King gives a report and an update. Often these meetings, he will give an update on COVID status and what's going on with that in the county, as well as other things going on with the city. He also does a written report every week that is available on the city's website for anyone to view, the city manager's report. And then we get to adjourning, and usually Councilor Campbell is the one who moves to adjourn, and the meeting is finished. So again, when you see all of these links on this agenda, you can click on any of them to read an issue summary, to read a contract or a document, to read our resolution. You know, anything that's a link here is a document that you can view. And then just a reminder that at the top of the agenda is where you find the link to watch our meeting live and to join and to provide public comment. So I hope everyone is going to have a great, very warm Wednesday. And if you are able to tune in tonight, I hope that you will. I think, again, we have some really important topics on our agenda tonight, and I want the public to be able to watch our discussion and understand how and why we make decisions during our meetings. Thanks, everybody, and let me know if this is a helpful video, if there's something else that you'd like me to talk about when I'm reviewing the agenda. If you don't think this is necessary, whatever you think about this video, this is something I'm trying out, and hopefully we'll be live streaming again Thursday evening to kind of recap and discuss what does happen at our meeting tonight. And again, I hope you're able to join, and we'll see you then.